In the aftermath of World War II, the world became a stage for new geopolitical tensions. As nations rebuilt, a new ideological struggle emerged, the Cold War. Central to this was the fear of communism spreading across Southeast Asia, with Vietnam as a focal point for the United States. The rise of communist influence sowed the seeds of conflict, causing concern among Western powers. This marked the beginning of the Vietnam War, a complex and prolonged struggle. As Southeast Asian countries grappled with post-colonial futures, Vietnam became a flashpoint. The U.S., driven by Cold War anxieties, committed to preventing the spread of communism. This involvement wasn't just political, it shaped global history. By exploring these early tensions, we understand how international dynamics led to a war that captured global attention for decades. We'll uncover how these initial moves set the stage for one of the 20th century's most significant conflicts. Next, we'll examine the specific causes that ignited this prolonged struggle. At the dawn of the Vietnam War, the world was gripped by the fear of communism spreading like wildfire. This fear was encapsulated in the domino theory, a cornerstone of U.S. foreign policy. The belief was simple yet powerful. If one country fell to communism, others would follow. This theory drove America's deepening involvement in Southeast Asia. The roots of the conflict stretch back to French Indochina, where colonial rule sparked a fierce struggle for independence. The First Indochina War ended in 1954 with the Geneva Accords. This division set the stage for future conflict, as North Vietnam pursued communism while the South aligned with Western powers. Understanding these early causes is crucial to grasping the complex dynamics that led to the Vietnam War. Next, we explore the initial steps of U.S. involvement, setting the stage for one of the most contentious periods in American history. In the early 1960s, the United States found itself gradually entangled in the Vietnam conflict. Initially, America's role was limited to sending military advisors to assist the South Vietnamese government, driven by the fear of communism spreading. However, in August 1964, the situation escalated dramatically. An alleged attack on U.S. naval vessels in the Gulf of Tonkin provided a catalyst for deeper involvement. This incident led President Lyndon B. Johnson to seek congressional approval for the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, granting broad military powers without a formal declaration of war. It marked the beginning of significant U.S. military escalation in Vietnam. America transitioned from advisory support to active combat engagement, setting the stage for a long and challenging conflict. As we delve deeper, we'll explore how this strategic shift influenced both the battlefield and the broader geopolitical landscape. Next, we uncover the intense battles that defined this era, shaping the course of history. In the thick of the Vietnam War, the intensity of battle reached a fever pitch. This was the climax of a conflict that had already claimed countless lives and altered history's course. Operation Rolling Thunder, one of the most prolonged aerial bombardments, aimed to cripple North Vietnam's infrastructure and morale. Despite its massive scale, the operation struggled to achieve its strategic goals, highlighting the complexities of warfare in this challenging landscape. As the war raged on, the Tet Offensive emerged as a turning point. In a coordinated series of attacks during the Vietnamese New Year, North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces struck over 100 cities and outposts across South Vietnam. This audacious assault shattered the illusion of imminent victory for the U.S. and South Vietnamese forces, leaving both military leaders and the public reeling. The psychological impact was profound, marking a shift in how the war was perceived both at home and abroad. Meanwhile, the Battle of Khe Sanh became emblematic of the brutal ground combat that defined much of the Vietnam War. For 77 days, U.S. Marines defended their base against relentless siege by North Vietnamese troops. The battle's intensity drew comparisons to previous historical sieges, underscoring the grueling nature of the conflict. These pivotal moments were more than just battles. They shaped the war's trajectory and its ultimate outcome. As we delve deeper into this turbulent chapter, we begin to see how these events fueled growing skepticism and disillusionment with the war effort, setting the stage for profound shifts in public opinion and policy. As the Vietnam War raged on, the media's unfiltered coverage brought the brutal realities into American living rooms. With every broadcast, public sentiment shifted dramatically. The war's horrors, once distant and abstract, became tangible and immediate. Across the United States, waves of anti-war protests erupted, echoing the growing discontent among citizens questioning the war's purpose and morality. College campuses became hotbeds of activism as students and citizens alike took to the streets, demanding change. This burgeoning anti-war movement soon captured the attention of politicians, creating ripples throughout Washington, D.C. Lawmakers felt pressured to respond to constituents' calls for peace and accountability. The shifting tide of public opinion forced a reevaluation of America's role in Vietnam, influencing decisions at the highest levels. This pivotal moment marked a turning point in the nation's history, showcasing the power of collective voice and protest. As we continue this journey, we'll explore how these protests set the stage for crucial negotiations leading to an end to U.S. involvement in Vietnam. In the heart of the Paris negotiations, a pivotal shift began to unfold. The Paris Peace Accords marked a significant turning point, setting the stage for the end of America's direct involvement in Vietnam. This historic agreement was not just a diplomatic victory, but a prelude to the Vietnamization policy, where the United States endeavored to transfer military responsibilities to South Vietnamese forces. As talks progressed, the gradual withdrawal of U.S. troops commenced, symbolizing a monumental change in strategy. This process was about reducing American troop presence and empowering South Vietnam to take control of its destiny. The transition was challenging, yet it represented a critical step towards concluding years of conflict. With every soldier returning home, the echoes of war began to fade, leaving behind a nation striving for peace. As this chapter draws to a close, we look forward to exploring the final stages of the Vietnam War, where the fall of Saigon and the reunification of Vietnam will bring this narrative to its poignant conclusion. In the spring of 1975, the world watched as Saigon, the capital of South Vietnam, fell to North Vietnamese forces. This marked not just the end of a brutal and protracted conflict, but also the beginning of a new chapter for Vietnam. The fall of Saigon was a moment of chaos and desperation as thousands scrambled to evacuate. Yet it was also a pivotal turning point that led to the reunification of Vietnam under communist control. With the war's conclusion, Vietnam began the arduous process of healing and rebuilding from decades of devastation. The immediate aftermath was marked by significant political and social changes as the country sought to unify and recover. For the United States, the end of the Vietnam War prompted deep reflection on its foreign policy and military strategies. As we look back, this resolution segment not only closes the chapter on the war itself, but opens discussions about its enduring impact on history. As we transition to explore the long-term effects of this monumental conflict, we consider how it reshaped Southeast Asia and global perceptions of war and peace. As we reach the conclusion of our exploration, we reflect on the enduring legacy of the Vietnam War. This conflict reshaped American foreign policy, leaving a profound imprint on the nation's approach to international relations. For Vietnam and the broader Southeast Asian region, the war's impact was equally significant. It transformed Vietnam's landscape, both physically and politically, and reverberated through neighboring countries, altering their paths and alliances. The Vietnam War taught us invaluable lessons. It highlighted the complexities of ideological warfare and the limits of military power in resolving such conflicts. These lessons remind us that understanding local cultures and histories is crucial when engaging in foreign interventions. Reflecting on these impacts and lessons, we gain a deeper appreciation for history's role in shaping our present and future. It's a reminder that every decision has consequences, often extending far beyond initial intentions. In our next segment, we will hear from historians and veterans who offer their personal reflections on the war's significance. Their insights provide a human dimension to this historical narrative, emphasizing the importance of remembering those who lived through these tumultuous times. Join us as we continue to honor their stories and ensure that the lessons of the Vietnam War remain alive in our collective memory. As we draw our journey to a close, we pause to reflect on the Vietnam War, a conflict that reshaped history. This is more than a chapter in textbooks. It's a tapestry woven with the threads of countless lives, sacrifices, and lessons. Quotes from historians remind us of the enduring impact and crucial insights gained. In understanding the past, we prepare for the future, they echo, urging us to never forget the cost of war. Veterans, with their poignant stories, bring us face to face with the reality of their experiences. Their voices remind us of the courage and resilience found amidst chaos. These reflections are not just about remembering a war, they are about honoring those who lived it. The Vietnam War's legacy is etched in history, serving as a testament to the complexities of global conflict and the human spirit's tenacity. As we conclude, let us carry forward the lessons learned, so that history may guide us to a more peaceful tomorrow. In remembrance and reflection, we find both closure and a call to action. Let us remember, not just in words, but in the way we shape our world.